Verse 11 begins with, "But Naomi said, 'Turn back, my daughters. Why will you go with me?'" Her statement is direct and her question is obvious. What would be the point of going with her? She's a widow, and therefore she is destitute of anything except the house or land that her husband left in Israel before the famine. Without a husband to take care of the house and to work in the field, she would be left poor, without an income, and wholly dependent on the goodness of others and whatever the law provided for her. And the law does provide for widows. It would be a bleak and meager existence, and she was hoping to keep them from the same sad lot. And it was a lot which would be unexpected to change, as we see in the continuation of verse 11. "Are there still sons in my womb, that they may be your husbands?" Well, this probably seems like an odd thought to us today. What possible difference could that make? But in the custom and the culture of the times, her statement is one which is perfectly understood. Going all the way back to Genesis 38, we see the practice of what is known as a Levirate marriage. That comes from the Latin term lever, and is where a brother-in-law would fulfill the responsibilities to the wife of the dead brother. This was adopted later in a form peculiar or particular to Israel into the law of Moses itself. That was concerning land inheritances and a family name, and it is recorded in Deuteronomy 25. I want to read this to you. "If brothers dwell together, and one of them dies and has no son, the widow of the dead man shall not be married to a stranger outside the family. Her husband's brother shall go into her, take her as a wife, and perform the duty of a husband's brother to her. And it shall be that the firstborn son which she bears will succeed in the name of his dead brother, that his name may not be blotted out from Israel." Before the time of the law, though, this was still a culturally mandated practice, and it is more in line with what Naomi is referring to now. In Genesis 38, Judah had 3 sons. The oldest, a guy named had a wife named Tamar. He died before Tamar had children, and so she was given the second son to raise up a child in name. The second son refused to adhere to this custom, and so the Lord killed him because of what he did. The third son, a little guy named Shelah, was never given to her. This resulted in events that finally ended with Judah becoming the father of her child without even realizing it. That account is directly tied to this account in Ruth, as we're going to see later. Naomi is telling them that she has no children in her womb that could come forth and fulfill this cultural obligation.